So this is Callie. Callie does not have the issue that we're going to work, but the other dog, Kya, is really off her game. We've kind of challenged her by putting the leash on her, and she's just really is taking a little bit of time to process it. She's probably going to be better after the session, after we leave. We didn't do anything bad, but it was just too unnerving for her. Now I want to talk about counter conditioning because one of the things that she is fearful of is fireworks, correct? So she was going to originally be trained as a military dog, but because of her reaction, a slight reaction to gunfire, she kind of washed out. So a lot of people fail to introduce various stimulus to their dog when they're a puppy during their critical socialization period. And if they don't experience it during that period of their life, they're naturally fearful of it for the rest of their life until we fix it or do something to adjust it. So counter conditioning is a process where we basically want to expose the dog to the stimulus, in this case the stimulus being fireworks, under a controlled situation so that we can have a lower level of intensity of whatever the stimulus is. So the way I did it for my dog, my puppy, is we just lit fireworks like about 4 houses away. We lit a 1.5 inch. Now I worked with one of my apprentices, Brian, and we worked out a signal. As soon as I knelt down from a standing position, he would light the firecracker. So I'd kneel down and then I would start letting the dog nibble on the treat like this. You're supposed to nibble on it and eat it in your mouth, not spit it on the floor. So while the dog is chewing on it, boom, fireworks goes off. But because the dog is getting something delivered that's really high quality, and because the firework is so far away, the dog is able to process it. So now for this, I'm going to show you how you can kind of orientate your dog. So, well, all right. Sometimes when your fingers get wet, it can take it out of your fingers. So I'm just pinching. These are Tricky Trainer liver flavored treats. So now I can see how I can orientate and get her to look wherever I want by orientating. So you want to practice this at home so she just gets used to taking little bites out of these treats at first. Then what we do is we have maybe one of your buddies has a bunch of 1.5-inchers 6 houses away. Put your dog in a sit. Have your dog on a leash so that you can make sure that the dog doesn't engage its flight mode. And it's also the sit is one of those tests. If you light the fireworks and your dog's in a sit and your dog gets up out of a sit, then your dog is saying that's too close. Or if I go like this to the treat and the dog is like looking around it rather than trying to nibble on it, the stimulus is too close. It's too intense for them to process. The key with counter conditioning is we want the dog to experience it while something good is happening and it's such a low intensity that it can process and deal with it. So in this case, you might want to have her looking at the guy doing the fireworks. For some dogs, that's too intense. So then we put her back to it. She can still hear it, same distance, but because she's not looking at it, she's able to process it. So basically, what we do is we keep on feeding her treats like this. We feed her at the same distance, 1 or 2 treats. And as long as she stays sitting and takes the treat, then we take either we move towards the fireworks or the fireworks work towards us. So in this case, we'll have the fireworks work towards us. So we're going to have the person lighting the fireworks come about 8 paces towards us and repeat. So we kneel down and start letting her do it. He lights the firecracker and boom, while she's still chewing it. Make sure the dog is chewing the treat while the stimulus happens. So we're going to basically keep on doing that, and the firework cracker is going to get gradually closer and closer. When we get to her breaking point, she's going to start getting up. She's not going to want to sit down, or she's going to move around the treat and not want to eat it. That's when we want to stop. The key with counter conditioning is not pushing too far. Most people push too far, and then the dog reacts, and we kind of invalidate all the work we did. So let's say we get 40 feet away from the fireworks, and now she can barely sit down. We stop. We have the person lighting the fireworks turn around, preferably walk away from us. When they're out of eyesight, then we turn around and walk back to the house. And then we don't do it again until after she's had a chance to sleep. She can nap or she can sleep. Dogs rearrange what they learn in the brain by sleeping. So it's important for them to sleep so they can recall and apply what they've learned to new experiences. So then the next time we do this is, let's say we're at 40 feet. I would start at maybe 41 feet. And we do the counter conditioning again. Now, if you're at first, she's got her back to the dog, or to the person with fireworks, we do that there until she can stay sitting, and then we turn her around and she's looking at it, and then we gradually start collapsing the distance. But each time, you might have a day where we don't even get to move forward at all. All we do is just feed it the same one, and the next day we only take 1 step or 3 steps. Go at your dog's pace. Don't try to force it and go faster because that will screw it up. If you do this properly, you will fix this problem for life because then the dog starts to associate. When fireworks happen, I get the best, most tastiest treats I've ever had. Can we get some more fireworks? And can we have more 4th of July once a month? And the dog looks forward to it. Now, and fireworks probably won't look forward to it, but it has a positive association. And then the dog's not going to be engaging in flight or flight mode. This is really powerful for, especially around the 4th of July, because a lot of people have dogs that just, for that 2-week period are just shuddering and shaking, and the anxiety is crazy. And I can see for what we dealt with Kya earlier, that she's going to deal with some anxiety. So practicing this, and if you're going to practice this, make sure you do it before the 4th of July, like about a month, so you have plenty of time to practice it. But eventually you get to the point where the dog's like, okay, I can deal with that. I don't have a problem with it. And you can be right next to or a couple feet away from somebody lighting fireworks, and the dogs can process it without immediately running away and freaking out and losing all confidence like Kya did earlier when we put on the leash. So that's counter conditioning.